So, product sum. I'm going to give you a little bit more context than what this worksheet specifically needs, but it's going to translate into the next thing. So when I have, you could just call this product sum. It doesn't have a section number because it's just a skill leading into factoring, which is 2, 5, and 2, 6. That's kind of the pre-work. So in your notebooks, where I have a quadratic trinomial of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, I am going to be looking for two numbers that have a product of a times c and a sum of b. And I'm going to write all this out in words for you. So again, I'm giving you a little more context here. But the way that we're going to be using this is when I have a quadratic trinomial written in standard form, I'm looking for two integers that have a product of a times c and a sum of b. Teachers sometimes use multiple different structures for how to write this. Last year, I had a lot of luck using this kind of organizer here. Students liked this, where I write the product of a times c on top and the sum on the bottom, and then I write the two numbers in these spots here. Another way teacher might do it is they'll just abbreviate product equals some number, and then the sum equals some number, and they might just list it. I'm going to show you both on what it would look like. But you might just see it written in different ways. P for product, S for sum. And all we're working on today is finding two numbers that have the product of something and the sum of something else. So in this instance, example 1, find two numbers that have a product of 12 and a sum of 7. So I might use this little X organizer to help me, where I'm looking for two numbers that have a product of 12 and a sum of 7. Or it would be the same thing if I just wanted to write like P for product, if you're like, nah, I'm not into that whole little X, and S for sum, and I want a sum of 7. So you could write it either way. You'll see different instructors do it different ways. If one of your strengths is multiplication facts, factoring is going to be easier for you. If you struggle with your multiplication facts, it's going to make this a bit harder. So some of you might be able to look at this and go, oh, I know what two numbers multiply to 12 and add to 7. It's okay if you can't. we want to practice this structure because inevitably, even if you could do it for the easy ones, we want to make sure if you do it for the hard ones. So 12. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a list of pairs of integers that multiply to 12. So I know 1 times 12 multiplies to 12. 2 times 6 multiplies to 12. 3 times 4 multiplies to 12. And those are all the unique combinations. Then I'm going to go through that list and I want to find, great, all those pairs multiply to 12, but what adds to 7 or subtracts? 1 plus 12 is 13. When I subtract, I get 11. That's not 7. 2 plus 6 is 8. When I subtract, I get 4. That's not 7. 3 plus 4 gives me 7. In this instance, it might be safe for you to jump to this, that your answers for the two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7 are 3 and 4. When I have positive, it tends to be easier on our brain because we don't have any negatives tripping us up, making us think extra hard. So the two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7 are 3 and 4. Now, you may not have had to do any of that work and you could have just, maybe you can just write down the answer. If you're there, great. If you're not, go through the steps with me. That's it. That's the skill we're doing today. We're going to do another one. Please write down the second problem. If you don't want to write down all the words, maybe write down the full directions for number 1, and then for number 2, just put product negative 24, sum negative 10. Now, you might be able to look at this and know off the top of your head two numbers that multiply negative 24 and add to negative 10. Cool. If you can do that, write them down. Otherwise, we're going to go through the process. What are all the pairs of integers that multiply to 24? 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. That part might be tricky for you. This is an opportunity. Making this list might be a great time for you to use your calculator. Maybe you sit there with a calculator and try all the combinations. 24 divided by 1. Great, it works. 24 divided by 2. Yes, it goes in evenly. 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 4. Yes. 24 divided by 5. It doesn't go in evenly, so I can't write that one down. If you need to use a calculator, this is a great place to do it. Now I'm going to go through because I'm looking for numbers that add or subtract to 10. So I'm going to go through each pair and add and subtract. 1 plus 24 is 25. I subtract, I get 23. That's not 10. 2 plus 12 is 14. Subtract, I get 10. That's a possibility. 3 and 8, I get 11. Subtract, I get 5. That doesn't work. 4 plus 6, well, that's also 10. So I could have more than one possible combination. I'm going to go through an added step on here because I have more options to choose from. This one's not as easy because I've got some negatives. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and those same two numbers that add to negative 10. Now, if you're not using pencil, you might want to use pencil or erasable pen or something, because I'm just going to write some numbers in, erase, and try again. I'm going to pick the wrong one first, okay, to show you the process. Okay. Well, to get 4 times 6 to be a negative, I need one of these to be negative, right? But down here, in order to get 4 and 6 to be a negative 10, I would need both of them to be negative. But that means up top now I have a positive 24. And no matter how you play with the signs, 4 and 6 are not going to multiply to give you a negative 24 and add to give you a negative 10. So I erase and I try the other combination. So let's play with 2 and 12. Remember, when I want multiply, I don't have any sign written in between the parentheses, right? So 2 times 12 is not 24. Let's try making the 2 negative. But then down here, negative 2 plus 12 is a positive 10. So if I change and make the 12 negative, let's try that. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24, check. 2 and plus negative 12 is negative 10, check. So my answers are 2 and negative 12. How's that feeling? Is that feeling okay? I'm going to go out of order. Try number 4 first. It's a little easier than number 3. So try 4 first. We'll go out of order here. Maybe leave a space and then number 4. 4 says find two numbers that have a product of 35 and a sum of 12. I'm going to give you a moment to give it a try. For some of you, you might be able to just write down the two numbers. For others, you might need to go through the process and using process of elimination to find what two integers give you the given product and sum. If you're stuck, it's okay. We're just getting into this. I would like you to compare your answer with one other person in the room at least. And if somebody else around you doesn't have somebody to compare it to, then compare with 2 or 3. Just make sure everybody's included. Talk about the answer that you got for this problem right here.
I'm so sorry.
5 times 7 is right. I have this combination listed twice. 5 times 7 is 7 times 5. You only get 1. Jared, will you check with him, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anthony, did somebody check with you? Did you compare answers? Do you have these out during notes, please?
I got 5.97. Perfect. I heard them, but I already answered it before they said it.
Good job. Good job.
Another full.
Okay, you should have 5 and 7. Hopefully. Both positive. So when I make a list here of things that multiply to 35, there's not a lot of options. I have 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. Well, 1 plus 35 is 36. I subtract to get 34. That doesn't give me 12. But 5 and 7 does give me 12. Because this one is positive and positive, it doesn't really trip me up. You could also make and double check that your product is 35 and that your sum is 12 if you feel like this checking is helpful for you to ensure that you're getting the right answers. Okay. Positive 5, positive 7. So now we're going to go backwards a little bit and do one that has a negative number. So question 3 was find two numbers that have a product of negative 12 and a sum of 11. Give that one a shot. So this problem tends to go really well usually. The only error that I sometimes see is getting the wrong sign. So just to double check your work, in order to get a positive sum here, I should have a positive 12 and a negative 1. So negative 1 times 12 gives me a negative 12, and negative 1 plus 12 gives me a positive 11. Negative 1 and positive 12. Does that feel all right?